Good morning, Savannah. Brr, it is cold outside. You're listening to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. This is Wayne. It's time for Savannah Rising. I appreciate you tuning in this morning. If you're just getting up, I'll tell you what you no doubt already know. It's cold. It is about 22 degrees thereabouts this morning in Savannah, Georgia, for goodness sakes. Woo, it's cold, folks. I hope you are staying warm however you need to do that. Get a cup of hot coffee. If you got to get up, if you don't have to get up, don't. You can still listen right there, hopefully, on your radio at 107.5 FM. But if you got to get up, you need to bundle up. You need to, if you're going to have to drive into work and haven't done so yet, you need to start that car early. Get it warmed up good. If you're driving in already, I hope you certainly have that heater cranked up. I appreciate you tuning into 107.5 FM as well. It is a cold one. And do drive carefully. We're lucky that it hasn't been, there's been no precipitation. It's been dry, so really shouldn't be a big issue regarding ice and that kind of thing. Nevertheless, Savannah is one of those cities, particularly in the historic district, where puddles of water seem to never go away. So there could be some puddles of water out there. Just be careful. Just might as well notch it down just a little bit while you're driving in such cold, cold weather. For those of you who are coming into the city, I noticed as I walked up to Parker's here a few minutes ago to get yet another cup of coffee that there are, some patches of ice in the alleyways. There are little patches of ice where at pedestrian crosswalks, a few pedestrian crosswalks where the sidewalk kind of lowers into the street, and there's a little bit of water that is puddled up there at that point and that kind of thing. So if you're coming into the city and be walking around the streets downtown, watch your step. Okay, everybody be careful. And everybody stay bundled up because this is seriously cold. All right. And let me not go any further without saying this. Happy New Year. This is my first show back in the new year. We are now in 2018, of course. So I hope your day is starting off well. I hope you're enjoying this land, your land, my land, our land, here this fine morning in early 2018. And before I go any further, I must say this. How about them dogs? Man, that was one incredible football game. Georgia Bulldogs are the Rose Bowl champions, a 54-48 double overtime win over Oklahoma University. They're going to meet the University of Alabama, the Crimson Tide, in the collegiate championship game. And that game, that Sugar Bowl game with the Bulldogs and the Sooners, was about as good as it gets. What an exciting game. Okay, all right. I know all of you aren't football fans, but some of you surely are. So, that was an exciting game. All right, so now here we are back this morning on WRUU. On Savannah Rising. I am Wayne. I am your host. You hope you're keeping warm here as the temperature still hovers around the low 20s here this morning in Statesboro. In Savannah. My goodness, I'm thinking about Statesboro earlier. Savannah, Georgia, and it's, I'm sure, low 20s in Statesboro as well. Hope y'all are staying warm out there in frigid Savannah, Georgia this morning. It's cold, y'all. Bundle up. You are listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul.
Loop It Up Savannah provides creative art experiences to about 5,000 young people every year. They partner with schools and community centers to offer after-school arts programs and in-school residency programs. They also provide art in the street with community events, help with social services, and other youth-focused initiatives. For more information, call 912-660-2812.
You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And welcome. This is Wayne, and it is time for Savannah Lexicon. Let me tell you that today's show is I had Senator Lester Jackson scheduled. I'm hoping he's still going to get here and running a little bit late. We shall see. In any case, we will plug away as best we can. So one way or another, we'll get some good information for you this morning. Hopefully, Georgia Senator Jackson is just running a little late and will be here soon. I will tell you, first off, you know what we have to do anyway here on Savannah Lexicon. And we don't want to miss this in any case, and I know that you are out there waiting for the world-famous general disclaimer. So let's just go right into that, shall we? The viewpoints expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. Okay, so we wanted to do that. We need to do that, so we got that little bit done. I'll tell you what I might do just to start off here this morning is kind of flip things around a little bit, in that I usually wait until the end of the show, in the final segment, to kind of talk a little bit about things that are going on in our fine city and do some things of that nature. So maybe I'll just go ahead and start with that, and hope that that things get here and get on time. And Senator Jackson was able to make it in here this morning. I know it's frigid. Maybe his car wouldn't start. I don't know. Anything can happen. If you're out there and you're going to be going out this morning, you better go out there and crank that car up yourself, because it is needing to be warmed up. It is still, I guess, in the low 20s last time I checked, so it's probably still around about there. Frigid day here in Savannah, Georgia. So everybody stay warm. All right. Let me just tell you a couple of things. I'll go ahead. There's really, honestly, not a heck of a lot going on, really, in terms of sort of big public events or interesting things. this time of year, I think everybody is kind of, still getting warmed up for 2018. So there's not a whole lot of activity going on. We've just gone through the wonderful, wonderful holiday season that goes all the way from really Thanksgiving and straight through Christmas season and Kwanzaa's over too now, and then we have New Year's Eve and and New Year's Day, where how about them dogs? One of the incredible football games of all time. And, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs are the Rose Bowl champs in a magnificent football game. They won 54-48, double overtime win over Oklahoma University. And the Sooners, who played, we must say, one heck of a game, gave the Bulldogs all they could handle. Almost more than they can handle, but they managed to pull it out. The Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield is a Heisman Trophy winner and just an extraordinary quarterback who should have a shining pro career, I think. And he played a good game. Everybody played a good game. Everybody out there clearly played their hearts out. But Georgia is on top, and they will be taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide in the national championship game. Yes, sir. That's good stuff. All right, so that happened. So now it's the 2nd of January as we're moving into 2018. Couple of things. Starting actually right now until 2 p.m. at the National Museum of the Mighty Eighth in Pooler is a free bullying prevention awareness summit. So I don't know. That's a project of the Savannah Chatham County Public School System Student Affairs. But unless you're right there in Pooler, really close, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to make it. It is a free event, but I don't know. We're that's already going on, so not sure if you can make that or not. Something else from 10 a.m. this morning, so you would have time for this, to 2 p.m. Actually, this is tomorrow. My bad. This is actually tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., is the St. Leo University Open House. St. Leo University Savannah Education Center. Going to have an open house tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 7486 Hodgson Memorial Drive, Suite A. Chance to meet advisors and faculty. You should bring your transcripts, and you can RSVP at http://bit.ly, that's bit.ly/2 AN 17 LC dot. Oh, well, yeah. I guess there's no dot on the end there. For information, though, here's the easier thing. 912-999-1030. 912-999-1030 for the St. Leo University Open House. Okay, what else? Well, I will go ahead and tell you that Thursday, January 4th, registration opens for the Youth Ocean Conservation Summit. And that's going to actually occur on January 27th at the UGA Marine Education Center and Aquarium. But registration will start on the 4th. And you can register at gacoast.uga.edu. All right. Or get additional information at fish@uga.edu. So that is coming up soon, and registration will begin tomorrow on that. Random thoughts while I'm thinking about it. For those of you who do the polar bear plunge, you people are crazy. That's number one. But number two, if you did it this year, You're beyond crazy, whatever that is. Okay. It's cold out there, y'all. It's way too cold to get wet in any manner whatsoever. Stay warm and dry. All right. So, anything else going on? Let me see. Did I miss anything? Oh, well, there is this, yes. There's a Park Place Outreach fundraiser. Now, I'm assuming that this is still legitimate. I'm looking at a notice that came, a week ago. I'm assuming it's still going as normal. It's 2018 Celebration of Love Gala, commemorating the 33rd anniversary of Park Place Outreach, Youth Emergency Shelter. Laudable organization here in Savannah, no doubt. The event is at the Landings Plantation Club on Skidaway Island. It's dinner and a silent auction, 6 p.m. And this actually is for February 2nd. Okay. February 2nd. These listings are laid out here rather oddly. But that is, just so you'll be aware of it, that's coming up February 2nd. Park Place Outreach Youth Emergency Shelter fundraiser coming up on February 2nd. Just to kind of jump a little bit ahead. Coming up this week, January 5th. On Friday, January 5th, is the First Friday for Folk Music at the First Presbyterian Church Social Hall, 520 Washington Avenue. And that's going to be 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Some good music, some Piedmont blues kinds of guys. That ought to be good. You can contact Clark Byron, I suppose that should be Clark Bryan. The email address is cbryon54@gmail.com. Phone number 912-484-3936. Or at Facebook on Sav Folk Music. More information about this Friday's First Friday for Folk Music. Looks like a good one. Also, this Friday, there's going to be a renaming ceremony for Retha Mae McCoy Community Park, formerly known as Runaway Point Park. That's going to be 2 p.m. January 5th at 240 Riverview Road. So that renaming is being done out of recognition to Miss McCoy's dedication and service to the Marsh Bluff Runway Point community. So a county park renaming ceremony this Friday the 5th. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what we got going here now. Let me also, I'll go ahead and do this. And I noticed something in the newspaper yesterday that I think was quite nice, where a number of folks in the community were asked what their wishes were for the new year. And I think there was some very interesting kinds of comments on that. So I think that is worth a listen here this morning. If you're just joining me, you are listening to Savannah Lexicon this morning. This is Wayne, your host. I hope you're staying warm and dry out there wherever you are. It's cold. It is definitely cold. But listen, at least we're not in Minnesota, where I saw that the wind chill factor was some absolutely insane number. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yes, the wind chill dipped to 36 below zero. You heard me right. 36 below zero in Minnesota. And you know what? So we don't need to worry too terribly much about being in the low 20s here in Savannah. I know it's cold for us, but my goodness, I cannot even imagine anything like 36 below. It was in Duluth, Minnesota, 36 below zero wind chill. Now, that's not temperature, but nevertheless, the temperature, has got to be extraordinarily low. In fact, yes, the temp was 20 below. The wind chill, good Lord, 36 below zero. That's just astonishing. No. That's just not right. That is not right. Human beings are not made for 36 below zero. So, hey, a nice balmy 22, 24, whatever it may be at this point here in Savannah, Georgia. We should not complain. But it's going to be going pretty much all week. And in fact, last I heard, there could be some snow on Wednesday. And I don't know about you, but if it's going to get this cold, I'd just as soon have some snow. I'd love some snow. At least it's pretty and quiets things down a little bit. Unfortunately, they were also calling for perhaps some sleet. I can do without that. Sleet we can do without. Let's forget the sleet. Just go with the snow. That'll be fine. Nevertheless, in any case, it's going to be very cold this entire week. So everybody just, just hang in there. Stay warm. Take it easy. If you're driving, slow down. Be careful. Walking around downtown, there are some little puddles here and there, some splashes of water here and there that have iced over. I'm looking at the weather forecast. It is not overnight temps are to be below freezing all the way through Saturday night, according to the forecast right now. The highs for this entire week are not going to get above, according to the forecast, 46 on this coming Saturday. It's only going to be a high today, I think, of about maybe 40, 41, somewhere around there, and low to mid 40s for the highs all the way through Saturday. So, whoo, man, oh man. Buckle up, both your car seatbelt, but also your coat. Your coat needs to be buckled. Everything you got needs to be buckled. We will survive, no doubt. All right. So, but another thing that was interesting that I found in the paper, I think I will share with you a little bit of it, was interesting. Again, it was kind of some New Year's wishes from various folks in the community, one of whom was Meg Heap, district attorney here in Chatham County, who I've had the pleasure of having on the show here earlier last year in 2017, which sounds odd to say. But District Attorney Heap, first off, applauded the new crime, what she calls the new crime-fighting partner, who is U.S. Attorney Bobby Christine, who has come on last year. And then also she's talking about a New Year's wish of moving toward the goal of establishing a family justice center. And that, of course, is to help victims and their families who struggle to get the support that they need. So that is one of her wishes, one of her primary wishes here for the city. And Ronald Williams, and I'm assuming, surely by the nature of his request too, that this is the Ronald Williams who is president of West Savannah Neighborhood Association, who also I've had the pleasure of having on the show here on Savannah Lexicon. And he expressed this actual desire to me when he was on the show too. And Ronald Williams, in his New Year's wish, is that a grocery store can come in to serve his neighborhood there in the West Savannah area, and where there's just not much of anything in the way of fresh food being available. He also wished for more economic development in West Savannah as well. So I can understand where he's coming from on those things. And again, those are exactly the kinds of things he was talking about on the show. I hope to get him back either this month or in February to see what else is going on and what's new and what's going on in West Savannah. So hope to have him as well. Okay, I'm going to put just a little music on, just to have a little musical interlude here, and I am going to be back very soon, so just hold on. You're listening to Wayne at Savannah Lexicon here on WRUU 107.5 FM. And welcome back to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings with Global Soul.
WRUU-LP Savannah Soundings programming is made possible by a grant from Brighter Day Natural Foods, offering produce, vitamins, and supplements, and a deli and juice bar. Brighter Day is located at 1102 Bull Street at the south end of Forsyth Park. More information available at 912-236-4703 or brighterdayfoods.com.
The Savannah-Chatham County Public School System's Garrison School for the Arts will present Savannah Sings 2018, Savannah's Invitational Choir Festival. The two-day event will feature concerts by some of the area's top school and community youth choirs and will benefit Savannah Friends of Music. The festival will take place on Thursday and Friday, February 8th and 9th, at the Yamacross Center for the Performing Arts at 649 West Jones Street in Savannah. For more information, visit savannahsings2018.weebly.com.
If your business enjoys our programming on WRUU-LP, please support the station with a donation. Let your customers, neighbors, and friends know that you share our vision of building a thriving community based on diverse, vibrant radio programming. As a business partner, our listeners will know you support Savannah's only broad-based community radio station. Become a tower sponsor or underwriter. To check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/business. Again, to check out the levels of corporate sponsorship and to donate, go to www.wruu.org/business. Thank you for listening to and supporting WRUU-LP.
Yes, indeed. And thank you for listening to Savannah Lexicon. Savannah Lexicon this morning. This is Wayne. I'm happy you have joined me. My scheduled guest, I think, has apparently had some difficulties here this morning and is, I guess, not going to be able to make it. I still got my fingers crossed that State Senator Jackson might arrive, but we shall see. in any case, I am going to soldier on. We got some good information in any case, and I was telling you about some of the statements expressed in the media from various folks in the Savannah area, kind of New Year's hopes for our fine city. And District Attorney Meg Heap expressed a hope to progress towards a family justice center. And Ronald Williams, president of West Savannah Neighborhood Association, expressed the hope for a grocery store in that area and more economic development. Another Neighborhood Association president, Cynthia Hobson of the Edgemere-Sackville Neighborhood Association, she expressed several things, one of which was that there be continued local and national conversations about important and topics such as the environment and racial inequalities, gender inequalities, and income disparities in our citizenry. And that is nicely said, Cynthia. I agree wholeheartedly. Lord knows, 2017, we started having some very important, if uncomfortable, conversations about those kinds of things. And we need to. And they are uncomfortable, and so be it. We need to have those conversations, and we need to try to come to some resolutions about them and try and improve things. And again, as she indicated, both locally and nationally. Also, let's see. Well, Sandra Hardy expressed a fervent, no doubt, desire that on her wish list that the U.S. House of Representatives institute Article 2 and begin impeachment proceedings for malfeasance against Donald Trump. I wholeheartedly agree with Miss Hardy's wish. That's at the top of my wish list, too. And that's on a national level, but believe me, it trickles down. That one, the whole trickle-down economics does not trickle down, but having this buffoon for a president does definitely trickle down all the way to the city and county level and the individual level, for that matter. All right. Also, Paul Wolf. Paul Wolf is hoping for an American epiphany. And he hopes that there is a sort of an awakening at the local, state, and national levels, an awakening concerning social and environmental issues. So another quite good wish there for our nation and community. And Coco Pappy, who I have also had on the show here very recently, community manager for Bull Street Labs. Coco is plain spoken in her wish. She wishes that people would get to work or get out of the way. Okay, so there you have it. She's just ready for people to, stop, I guess, impeding progress and rather doing something about it. And that's not a bad idea either. All right, well, this is Wayne again. You're listening to Savannah Lexicon. I do appreciate you tuning in this frigid morning here in Savannah, Georgia. We've got some really cold temperatures, a very, very cold week ahead of us here. But we can certainly deal with it. And again, a possibility of a little snow. Hey, I'm hoping for a little snow. I got my fingers crossed. I would definitely like a little snow. That would not be bad at all. I would not mind it at all. That would be okay. So, my show today was to be about the new legislative session everybody's going back after the break for the session here. And was hoping to talk about some gun legislation that is going on. By the way, my scheduled guest for Thursday is Representative Jesse Petraea, Republican here in Savannah, who pre-filed a bill that would penalize people more harshly. It's already against the law, but penalize more harshly people for supplying guns to felons. Right now, I think the maximum is up to 12 months in jail for doing that very bad thing, supplying guns to felons. Felons cannot own guns. And Petraea's bill would basically increase the punishment. It's up to 12 months now. Petraea's bill would increase the punishment to 1 to 5 years in jail. Now, that does have the virtue, I think, of perhaps making people think a little more before passing a gun on to a felon. But Senator Lester Jackson, State Senator Lester Jackson, is working on a bill that would allow law enforcement to destroy the guns that law enforcement, seizes in illegal activities. And the way that it is now, and this is so bizarre to me, I don't know how this came to be the case, but at any rate, the way it is now, law enforcement agencies can keep weapons for 6 months. I don't know why, honestly, but they can keep them for 6 months, and then they have to turn them over to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Now, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, as it stands now, sells them to a third party. Well, a whole lot of times they end up in pawn shops. They end up in these gun shows with extraordinary lax regulation and oversight. And, of course, they end up, no doubt, quite often, in the hands of bad people who do not need guns and should not have guns. So Senator Jackson's legislation, should it be passed, would give the county sheriff's department, police departments, the right to destroy the weapons that they confiscate and that they seize involved in illegal activity. And hopefully, especially if the guns were used in violent offenses in the first place. I certainly champion that idea. I think that is a very good idea. We got enough guns. We don't need more guns. If we can destroy some that were used in a crime or that were, there in the hands of criminals as the law enforcement officers do their jobs, that would be good. That would be a good thing. So those are two of the bills that local legislators are pushing forward here, and I think they're both very good ideas. And should be dealt with expeditiously here as they get back into the session, and I believe it starts January 8th. So that's what we got going on there. Now, there's a lot more going on than that, of course. And so this might be a good time to look into some of the things that are being put forward here. The county commissioners of Chatham County, you probably know, put out a a legislative agenda of things that they are particularly concerned about for the upcoming 2018 session here. And so there's some good stuff here. There are 8 members of Chatham County's representative delegation. So some of the issues that there seems to be a pretty good chance that they might actually pass. Particularly the House of the Representatives. One is the municipal broadband, and that is apparently an issue that is one of the priorities of the largest advocacy group for county level. Well, advocates for counties to pushing at the state level, and that's the Association County Commissioners of Georgia. They're pushing this. This is one of their priorities, and the idea of creating a broadband network at the community level, at the municipal level. And I don't know, for those of you who may be aware of it, Chattanooga did this years ago, and Chattanooga now has a blazingly fast internet connection at little to no cost, little cost to the community there in Chattanooga. Chattanooga has got one of the fastest internet connections in the nation. Maybe the world, I'm not sure, but I mean ridiculously fast broadband in their community. And so there's a push for that here throughout the counties, really in Georgia, all over the place, and of course including Chatham. This also, by the way, is something that the film industry has literally requested, made request that the county might want to improve local internet service. I saw a reference somewhere that here in Chatham County, generally the internet connection is something like 6 times slower than average, or something along those lines. I won't swear that that's the precise number or designation, but it's something along those lines. We do not have blazingly fast internet, I can tell you that for sure. And so we do so much. Georgia as a whole, and certainly Chatham County and Savannah, has so much at stake with the music industry. With the movie industry and the film industry. And they should listen, I think, not only for that reason, though. I mean, just because I think this is a very good idea and something well worth looking into to make sure it can work out well. But when the film industry is also putting in your ear that, hey, you really need to have some faster internet, that makes it even more relevant, I think. So that's one of the issues that the county commission has put on their sort of legislative agenda at the state level. Another very, very big issue is the issue of an indigent fund for county hospitals. If you guys aren't aware of it, and again, I imagine the kind of folks who listen to my show probably are, but nevertheless, there's this pending sale of the Memorial Health System to a for-profit organization out of Nashville, the Hospital Corporation of America. And as you know, Memorial Health is sort of the go-to medical facility here in the area, and really people come from around elsewhere for indigent care, for those who just don't have the funds to get any health care in any other way. So there's an effort and a desire in this coming session in 2018 to one thing they're trying to do is to get a clearer definition, apparently, of what is considered indigent, and so that they can just find ways to have funding available. If I'm understanding it correctly, they want to just make that clear and increase the options of ways that we can use the trust fund for funding indigent care at a facility like Memorial is, and as it's, again, in the process of being sold. So that is another issue of primary importance for this area and other areas as well. Let's see, what else have they got going there? There's a lot of things. Well, of course, there is a stated desire from the county commissioners, Chatham County, for additional funds for infrastructure and road improvements, particularly in and around the Georgia Port Authority. And of course, the port has grown tremendously. We're getting bigger ships now. We are getting a lot more ships now. Just incredible the way that's going on. So we hope that we can find the funds to be relegated to kind of helping in that regard. And really, this is things like, intersection turn lanes, and perhaps some additional lanes to improve the traffic movement, particularly out there at the Georgia Port Authority area. So that is another primary focus. Chatham County did, in fact, put also as one of their 9 top items on the legislative agenda for 2018 the gun destruction for seized weapons that I was just talking about, that is in the process of being put together as a bill to be put forward. So they're all behind that as well, not surprisingly. Let's see. Other legislative requests. Well, to have the earned income tax credit to allow members of the community who earn below the poverty line to be exempt from certain taxes. Yes, of course. One would hope so in any decent society that we would have that. All right. More to come. There's also, of course, a huge election coming up this year, so I'll get back to that. Just a very short, momentary little bit here. Appreciate you listening to Savannah Lexicon here on WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM. Be right back with you.
Clean Coast is a volunteer organization which works to combat marine debris by holding monthly beach and marsh cleanups along the Georgia coast. If you would like to find out more or volunteer, visit cleancoast.org.
Clean Coast, indeed. another very worthwhile organization here in coastal Georgia area. All right, you're listening to Wayne again on Savannah Lexicon. Do appreciate it. Got, I don't know, about 10 more minutes till the top of the hour. Remember that following me is all kind of good programming all day, but most immediately following me at 9 o'clock is going to be Background Briefing, an excellent show that looks at national and international topics of import. And then at 10 o'clock will be Democracy Now! With the indefatigable Amy Goodman. And just a quick reminder again, next on Tuesday, my next show is going to also have another state capitol personage here on the show, and Representative Jesse Petraea will be coming in, and he has got his gun legislation coming already pre-filed for the 2018 legislative session, so we'll hopefully talk about that and some other things as well. And don't forget, there will be a need to replace the governor of our grand state. So Nathan Deal is going to be gone. And the question is, who's going to take his place? And obviously there are a number of Republicans waiting to step in, the lieutenant governor being one of them, from the Gainesville Republican, is kind of considered the front runner. We certainly need to disparage that idea and put that idea to rest entirely. Also, Secretary of State Brian Kemp is, I believe, he is in the race as well. Some other Republicans are in the race. However, there are some Democratic gubernatorial candidates, so that's where we need to be focused. And I think the most prominent among them, it might be safe to say, is former House Minority Leader Stacey Abrams, head of the House Democratic Caucus. She started up an organization, the New Georgia Project, which focuses on registering minorities and others. And she, I think, is one very good candidate and probably the leading Democratic candidate. Also running State Representative Stacey Evans. She's in Smyrna and an attorney. Really, one of her primary issues has been, restoring the Hope Scholarship funding. Unquestionably, in my mind, either one of those candidates would be far better than anybody from the other side of the aisle. All right, so yeah, that's going on now, folks. There's definite stuff going on where we need to start thinking very early on about voting and elections. And there is an event actually coming up sponsored by Step Up Savannah, one of my very favorite organizations, and I've had representatives from there on my show a couple of times. They do a lot of good things for Savannah, including really fighting poverty is their number one kind of activity, I suppose. But they also are doing a workshop kind of a thing here this month. Honestly, I don't have the date right at the tip of my hands, but if you go to Step Up Savannah or you Google Step Up Savannah vote or voting, they are having a really nice good community project where they are doing a workshop, a political education and voting education workshop, primarily for neighborhood association leadership, but it is not by any means limited to those folks. And so look into that. It's a very worthwhile event, and we don't need to wait around to the last minute. We need to go ahead and be thinking about registering voters, about educating people about the whole political process, about voter registration, about the key political issues, and get things warmed up and going well before any actual election and the legislative process as such. So do keep that in mind as well. Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, those are kind of some of the main issues that we at least touched on, wanted to touch on here on today's show. And hopefully you found some of it informative, and we'll kind of follow up with some of it. And again, my show on Thursday with Representative Petraea will be involved in much the same kind of thing. And again, his legislation regarding gun ownership and that kind of thing will be going as well, and we'll be talking about that. So another good show coming up about the new year and the new legislative session here in 2018. It's going to be a big year. It's going to be a big year. And from my point of view, wow, it couldn't help but get better, I hope. Lord knows I hope it doesn't get any worse, because at least on the national level. So hopefully things will take a bit of a different turn here in 2018. And there certainly are any number of purely kind of local issues to be thinking about too, and to stay on top of, and be aware of. And I will do my best here on Savannah Lexicon to keep you abreast of those, and to bring in some folks who know about these things, are involved in them, and continue to educate us and about what's going on. And I know a number of my guests in the first couple of months here. I'm going to have Alderman Bill Durrance within the next week or two, and I'm hoping to get Alderman Van Johnson. We haven't kind of settled in on a date yet, but hope to get him back in here. Going to have some neighborhood association leaders, presidents of neighborhood associations back in here, and have them tell us from a sort of a, in that sense, from a neighborhood level about the kinds of things that they're concerned with as we move forward into this sparkling new year. So there will be some good guests coming up for sure on Savannah Lexicon as usual. And, and then, along they'll be peppered in there some kind of fun stuff, and just some a little bit more lighthearted stuff as well. But lots of good input and communication with city government folks and neighborhood association folks and social service organizations, and just all kinds of people in the community. I will go ahead. We're just getting very close to closing out here and getting ready to move on to the next show. But I do want to take this moment to give a general disclaimer here on the tail end as well, that the viewpoints expressed in the preceding program were not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. Thanks for listening to Savannah Lexicon. It's WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.